It's time for the RMAC Radio Show, featuring all the latest information from around the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II. Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show, week number 11. My name is Eric Danner. We had the latest RMAC football game to end our all RMAC football games as CSU-Pueblo took on New Mexico Highlands. We're going to talk some RMAC football in this show. We also had our RMAC soccer championships, a couple of upsets in the championship games. We also had the NCAA regional cross country. No surprise, the RMAC did real well there. We'll talk about that in segment 3, but we are going to start off with RMAC football action. CSU-Pueblo defeated New Mexico Highlands 31-17, but that score not as close as the game actually was. In fact, Highlands was leading 17-10 in the fourth quarter before the ThunderWolves were able to pull off 3 touchdowns at the end of the quarter. And joining us now on the RMAC hotline is the quarterback for CSU-Pueblo. His name is Ross Dausin. Ross, how's it going today?
I'm great. Thanks, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Ross. Hey, this script looks kind of similar to last year. You guys were undefeated last year, number 1 ranked team in the country, won the RMAC championship, and here you are again in 2012 doing the same thing. Does it feel like a little like Groundhog Day for you?
I don't think so. I guess the record is similar to last year, but the season has been anything but that. We've definitely been tested a lot more, and the conference is a lot deeper than it was last year, I think. And we know we have another tough game this week, and that we need to show up to play to wrap this thing up.
CSU-Pueblo clinched a share of the conference championship this past weekend with that win over New Mexico Highlands. And Ross, you mentioned it has been a struggle. You guys have come from behind several times. Chadron State, you had to come from behind, and then this past week you also came from behind against New Mexico Highlands. What was happening in those first 3.5 quarters that Highlands really stymied your offense, and then what happened in that last half of the fourth quarter that you guys were able to score 3 touchdowns?
I don't know if there's really one thing you can point to. I just think that they're a great team, and they definitely came to play and have great defense. And I think, they played great for most of the game, and I think, we just had trouble executing against them, and we never gave up or, held up or hung our heads, and it was just kind of what we've done every week, and just keep grinding until the game's over, and we finally were able to push through at the end.
Talking to Ross Dausin in his 3rd year as starting quarterback at CSU-Pueblo. He's a senior out of San Antonio, Texas, Warren High School, also went to Butler County Community College in Kansas. And Ross, the offense this year a little bit different since you had Jesse Lewis behind you the past couple of years, and J.B. Matthews has stepped into that starting role, but he's been banged up, and it seems like there's been really a lot of depth there at running back, as we saw Cameron McDonald, a true freshman, come in and really tear things up, and we even see him carry the ball in the fourth quarter as he scored your last touchdown. So you got to feel pretty confident with those guys behind you.
We do. The coaches do a great job of recruiting talent and developing it, and we don't expect any letdowns when the second or third guy is in, and we know that we just need to do our job and execute, and we have a lot of faith in everyone on this roster and their ability to do the job.
Talking with Ross Dausin, quarterback at CSU-Pueblo, and a few new faces for receiver for you, some guys you've been thrown to for the past couple of years, but also some new guys. It seems like maybe more explosive type receivers, or maybe you guys are taking a few more shots downfield than in years past. But I guess by the same token, Ross, we did see you throw a few more picks maybe this year than you did last year. So what are your thoughts on the receiving core and kind of opening up the offense this year?
It's definitely exciting when you get to do that and be as balanced as we are this year. And I think our balance has been kind of the key to our success offensively. And, I think it's a combination of both. Guys are more explosive a little bit and have gotten bigger and faster. And I think there's also just very good familiarity between us, because this is not, the first time we've gone out and thrown the ball around with each other. So I think it's a combination of both. And getting to the interceptions. That's never good. You never want to see that, but I think we'll take it. It's still, we've been able to overcome that, and that's something you've got to accept when you open up the offense and throw the ball a little bit more.
Talking with Ross Dausin from CSU-Pueblo. They play at Western State, final game of the regular season, 1 o'clock kickoff from the Mountaineer Bowl. And Ross, this is always one of those dangerous kind of games because obviously you guys might be looking ahead to the NCAA playoffs, which you're almost assured of a spot there, being the number one team in the region, number one team in the nation right now. How do you keep from having any kind of a letdown this week?
I don't think, that's one of the great things about our team is we really do a great job on focusing each week. And, I promise you we aren't overlooking Western and know that they want to finish the year with a bang and try to knock us off. And supposedly the weather is supposed to be a little bit chilly, maybe some snow this weekend. So we know that we need to focus and show up and handle our business every week. And, hopefully we can do that again one more time.
Talking with Ross Dausin, quarterback at CSU-Pueblo. Did you feel a little more pressure on you being the quarterback, Ross, when the team is ranked number one? Or does it seem like, I guess being on the sideline a little bit for some of your games, that there isn't really a whole lot of panic setting in at any time? Because I remember against West Texas, the fumble at the very beginning of the game, and West Texas drives down, and then they cough the ball up. And talking to Coach Riston, I guess he really stresses that your team is very even-keeled, not too high, not too low, and I guess that's how you have to approach being the number one team as well.
I'd agree with that. I think, again, we've been down and had to battle back a handful of times this year, and we know that we're going to get everyone's best shot and that we might have our backs against the wall, just about every week, and so that's something that we had in our mindset and have been able to deal with appropriately this year, I think. And, I think that's, again, another one of our keys to success is that we have faith in each other and the staff and the game plan, and we don't ever really get too high or too low, like you said, and just continue to play and play the next, just move on from the last play and play the next snap our hardest. So I think that, that is something that we pride ourselves on and has helped us out a lot this year.
Well, hey, Ross, we want to thank you for taking some time out, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much, Eric. Have a good day.
Okay, that is Ross Dausin, starting quarterback at CSU-Pueblo, a very steady influence on that team, as you can tell by the interview, just a very thoughtful kid. I didn't get into it with him. He's 6'5". His center, Jonathan Jones, only 5'7". It's always kind of funny to see them together because, you're used to the offensive linemen being these big, huge guys, whereas Ross is as big as an NFL quarterback when you see him in person. And Jonathan, who does a great job, first-team All-RMAC center, is a much smaller guy. But what a great combination they've been. What a great combination CSU-Pueblo has had last couple of years. They haven't lost an RMAC game in more than 20 games. Haven't lost at home in the regular season in quite some time. So they are certainly on a roll in those RMAC standings, 8-0, 10-0 overall. Chadron State's now number 3 in the region, so they are in good position to host a first-round playoff game. The way it works in football is we get 24 teams. There's 4 different regions. Pueblo would have a bye in the first round if they continue to be the number 1 team in the region, and Chadron would have a home game in the first round. They're 7-1, 8-2 overall. New Mexico Highlands, even though they lost, they actually moved up in the regional rankings to number 9. Again, only 6 teams get in, but that 6-2, 7-3, Eric Young and his team having a great year. Adams State, they upset Colorado Mines this past weekend in Golden. They are now in sole possession of 4th place at 5-3, 7-3 overall. Colorado Mines falls to 4-4, 6-4 overall. Mesa had a tough one with Western State winning 22-19, but they improved to 4-4 in the league, 4-6 overall. Western New Mexico, they were upset by Black Hills State in Silver City, 36-24. As Western New Mexico now 3-5, Black Hills 2-6, Western State at 1-7, and Fort Lewis at 0-8. For more on what happened this past weekend in RMAC football, let's head over to Chris Polton with the RMAC recap.
Thanks, Eric. New Mexico Highlands had one last chance to climb back into the race for the RMAC championship. CSU-Pueblo had other thoughts as they aimed to stay perfect. Pack running back J.B. Matthews made sure that the Cowboys knew from the get-go they weren't going to have a chance in this one. Matthews scored 3 times, one coming from a Ross Dausin pass. Highlands quarterback Emmanuel Lewis felt the T-Wolves' pressure all day, being sacked 4 times and throwing for 4 INTs. CSUP victorious 31-17. Chadron State continues to roll as they pound on Fort Lewis in Durango. Eagle running back Glenn Clinton with 2 scores on 109 yards rushing, and wideout Nathan Ross scored 2 times on a 48-yard pass and a 43-yard connection. CSE wins 45-20. Adams State quarterback Trevor Eggleston had his best game of the year, throwing for 370 yards and 2 touchdowns. Colorado Mines tried to keep up with their offensive attack, but Grizz defense contained the Orediggers. Final score 36-25 ASU. Colorado Mesa trying to get back to 500 in conference, hosting a struggling Western State team. The Mavs' DJ Hubbard's 6-yard touchdown to take a lead with 7.5 minutes left and completed the 2-point conversion to go up 22-19, and that would be your final score. Black Hill State shocks again, going to Silver City, New Mexico, and coming out with the 36-24 win. Yellow Jacket QB Ward Anderson led the way for the offense, scoring 3 times, once in the air and twice on the ground. Western New Mexico did all they could on offense to keep pace, having Mitch Glassman connect with Marquise Sumter, who continues to show his dominance for 2 more touchdowns. I'm Chris Polton, and that's your RMAC recap.
Thank you, Chris. RMAC Players of the Week on offense. Trevor Eggleston from Adams State had a career-high 370 yards as he threw 29 of 46 in the Adams State win over Colorado Mines. The RMAC Rawlings Defensive Player of the Week, Trent Turbeville from Black Hill State, 20 tackles, including 9 solo tackles for the Yellow Jackets as they defeated Western New Mexico. And the Special Teams Player of the Week goes to Ron Godden from Adams State, returned a kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown, matching a 42-year-old school record. So congratulations to our RMAC Players of the Week. Quick rundown of the schedule ahead. Colorado Mines travels to Chadron State in what figures to be the RMAC Game of the Week. Noon kickoff in Chadron, Nebraska. Western New Mexico at New Mexico Highlands. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff. That's always a good in-state rivalry game. Colorado Mesa at Adams State, also a 1 o'clock kickoff as the Grizzlies and Mavericks try to finish off the season on a good note. CSU-Pueblo traveling to Western State. If the ThunderWolves win, they get sole possession of the RMAC championship this year. And Fort Lewis makes the long trek to Spearfish, South Dakota to take on Black Hill State, also a 1 o'clock kickoff. When we come back, we're going to talk some RMAC soccer. Megan Woodworth of Colorado Mines will be our guest. You're listening to the RMAC Radio Show.